Hey guys, it's time for another drive with me, come drive with me, drive and chat sort of thing. And today's topic, by the way, I know the sound isn't the greatest. I'm working on a sound fix. It's tough because this is a 360 video. I have to do this in one shot. I don't want to edit a 360 video. I don't even know what that entails at this point. Maybe I'll look into it further, and if it's not too difficult, I'll have a separate mic, and then I'll overlay that audio onto the 360 video. However, I really do like the 360 video, and I like the fact that you guys can drive around with me. Also, you guys mentioned putting it in the passenger seat. That is definitely something I can do once I fix the audio issues. But right now, there's just no way I can do that, because if I put you in the passenger seat, the audio will get even worse. So anyway, today's topic is procrastination. Not to be confused with laziness. Laziness is just like you don't want to do anything. You just want to lounge around and do nothing. Procrastination is choosing certain tasks over other tasks, whether they're more important or not. It's more like choosing something that you want to do instead of something that you have to do. And I have struggled with procrastination my entire life. Like it's been bad. How is the video in the dark here? This is kind of interesting. I have to play this back and see what happens. But anyway, procrastination's tough. It's honestly something that I've struggled with forever. Back when I was in school, I still do. I still actually struggle with it. Not as much as before, and we'll talk about that in a bit. There are methods that I've used that I'm going to share with you guys that 100% work for me. Maybe they'll work for you. So if you have trouble procrastinating and leaving things till the last minute and choosing certain tasks over other tasks, even though certain tasks should probably get done first, hopefully the methods that I will outline later on in the video will be helpful to you. But speaking from a personal standpoint, back when I was in school, studying and homework, oh my gosh, like the worst. I would leave, so studying, homework, first of all, I would just wait until, if it's due the next day, I would do it the day before, which is not a big deal, which is like something I think most people do. But for tests and stuff, when you got to study for like a big test, I would leave it not till the last day. I would leave it literally till the last hour to study for a big test. And I would plow through that book. And honestly, I don't know how I got by in school doing it that way. It turns out I was actually a pretty good student. Your boy's smart. I actually got pretty good grades. But it didn't work for me, and I knew it didn't work for me. There was a couple times where I actually studied for a test, and I felt like 100 times better going to that test, way more confident, and my grades reflected it. I got way better grades. But most of the time, I'd say 99% of the time, 99, I'm serious, I'm not even exaggerating, 99% of the time, I was waiting until like the last hour, the last couple hours to study. It was rough. Yeah, so stuff like that, I had always had trouble with. For instance, it like even later on in life, I was getting invited to weddings, because that's what you do if you're a friend of people. People get married, they invite you to weddings. I was getting invited to weddings, and a couple of times, I believe it was for my cousin's wedding, I had to get like a suit fitting done because I was the best man. I believe it was for my cousin's wedding. I was also in a wedding party for my sister, so I'm not sure if I'm confusing the two, but I was the best man at my cousin's wedding, and I had to get a suit fitting done. And the sooner I got it done, the better, because then I can tailor the suit to my specific body type, which at the time was large. So I really did need a bit of a tailoring. I left that until the last minute. It turns out they didn't even have, I don't think they even had like the right sized pants for me. They gave me like massive pants. I felt like I was swimming in those things, and I couldn't even get them tailored because there was no time. I think I remember it being like 2 days, 3 days before. Again, I chose to do other things rather than get the thing done that I needed to be done. The worst part though, or the worst event of procrastination, has got to be when I basically lost my job because of it. So I wouldn't say, I guess I was put, I'll explain it to you. What had happened was, I was driving around for autotrader.ca. It's basically an online used car sale website thing. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. I need to turn this auto ignition off because I hate it. So I had my G2 license. In Ontario, it goes G1, G2, and your G. Your G license is the one that's sort of like, it's permanent. You have to renew it every once in a while, but you don't have to take more tests. I had the G2, which means I had to take another test to get the G. If I failed the G test, then I would have a certain amount of time to try it again, during which my G2 was active, or before it expired. Well, folks, I was driving around, as driving was part of my job for Auto Trader, and I knew that my G2 license was going to expire shortly. And I waited, and I waited. I did this, I did that, I did other things. I put priority because I knew I didn't want to take this test because it was going to suck. And what had happened was I failed my G2 test because at that point I had developed so many bad habits. I was speeding. I was driving with no hands on the wheel. Not no hands on the wheel, but I was driving sort of like this. I mean, it's bad habits you develop as a driver. I'm not about to change them now. I'm in the clear. I've got my G now. But anyway, I failed the test. And because my license had expired already, I actually did that test. I think you're allowed to do it about a month after your license expires. And I had waited so long that my license had expired. Or was it expiring? No, because then I wouldn't be able to drive around if it was expired. Yeah, it was probably just about expiring. I failed it. And without a license, I couldn't do my job. So they sort of like, they let me go under the understanding that they would rehire me once I got my license back. And eventually I did get my license back. You know, as a matter of fact, the first test I took after my license expired, because I actually went to a driving school and got a couple of like freshener lessons, I actually passed, like first shot. So yeah, that I procrastinated so much that I lost my job because of it, technically. So it's definitely something that I struggle with, and I know people struggle with. I still talk to people who struggle with procrastination, and it's a serious problem. Like, it can really, like I just said, it affected my job. You know, my well-being, my means of income and employment, my living, just living overall, it affected me. So yeah, it sucks. It still affects me today. Currently, I have an expired passport. Again, it's something I've been putting off because I know it's kind of a pain in the butt. I've got a bunch of other things that I have accomplished since my passport expired, but that passport, it's just currently, it's sitting expired, and I've got to renew that. But I am a lot better than I once was. The reason for that is because I have, over the years, developed something, not developed, but used some tools that work for me, and I hope they will work for you if you're a procrastinator, a chronic procrastinator like myself. Here's what I've done. First of all, on a daily basis, so I have to record videos every single day for work. If I don't record videos, I don't make money. I don't get paid. It's how I make a living, is making videos. So instead of, oops, somebody's mad. What is going on? Instead of putting it off to the back burner, like, oh, I gotta make this video, it's gonna take me forever, oh, blah blah blah, I shouldn't make this video, I'll make this one instead because it's a lot faster and it'll be a lot easier. I have a whiteboard, and every day of the week, usually about a week in advance, I have videos planned for videos that I need to make. I found that works tremendously. Having something in writing, like I could do it on my phone, but I'm not always looking at it. When I go up to my office, I see that whiteboard, I see what's due today. I call it due. Technically, I don't have due dates, but I see what's due today, and I do it. No matter how long the video takes, no matter what video it is, I do it. I mean, there are still occasions where things come up and I can't record certain videos, but for the most part, I would say 80 to 90% of the time, I record exactly what I want to record, and I put it out exactly the day that I want to put it out due to this whiteboard. I suggest you do the same. It doesn't have to be for videos, obviously. It could be for anything. Anything you want to do. Get a calendar, get a whiteboard, put on that calendar what day you need something accomplished by, and you will see that day get closer and closer, and it will help you stay on track, and it'll help you complete the tasks that you maybe are putting off in favor of other tasks. The best thing to do, making a list is great, by the way. If you don't have a whiteboard, make a list of the things you have to do. Let's say things you have to do this week. There'll be maybe a list of 3 or 4 things. Start with the easiest one. I know that's sort of like the whole problem here, is doing the easy tasks instead of the complex tasks or the annoying or tedious or boring tasks. But If you have this list and you start scratching stuff off that list, after you do that easy task, you do the next task. The next one might be a little bit tougher, but it's not as tough as the other ones. You keep scratching them off until you have one left and you've done all the tasks that week, and then you just have to do this one last one and you're done. Lists are amazing. Trust me. This is, again, obviously this is stuff that you can like look up on the internet, and people will tell you what works for them, but it's not as personal. You're hearing it from somebody through my mouth. I am speaking to you and I am telling you this works for me and it will work for you if you stick with it. Another thing, what was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, if you don't do something, don't beat yourself up over it. It's going to happen. Like I said with the videos, things come up. I don't always get every video I want to do done. Things come up, things happen, things get in the way. Don't beat yourself up over it, because then you're just going to be in that mindset like, oh, I failed again, I'm such a procrastinator, blah, blah, blah. No. If one thing didn't happen, just move on to the next thing. Just make sure you give it your best shot. If things come up, it's great, or I shouldn't say it's great, but if things come up and you don't do something, that's fine. But don't go and like avoid things, on purpose. There's got to be a good reason for you to miss something. Another thing, be realistic. This one's super important. Don't put, like, for instance, when I started the Patreon thing, which, by the way, this video is brought to you by Patreon because this is one of my Patreon goals. When I started the Patreon thing, I had on my whiteboard for the longest time, set up your Patreon. There are a million things that go into setting up your Patreon account. I should not have put set up Patreon. I should put the smallest step, or the increment of steps that led me to setting up my Patreon, because it just sat there. And as soon as I started listing off what I needed to do to ultimately get Patreon set up, then I started cracking through them no problem. And it turned out to be a lot easier process than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, be realistic. Don't say something like, I would like to go to Mars. Obviously, kind of a crazy goal in and of itself. But maybe start with, I don't know, read a couple space books. Read a couple books about space or something, Be realistic in your goals. Otherwise, they're just like out of reach, and you kind of just make yourself feel down by not being able to reach them. I think I need to change lanes here. Yeah, I definitely need to change lanes here. Can I change lanes in front of you, truck? No? Okay. He's not gonna. Okay, it's fine. And lastly, probably the most important, and it comes to us courtesy of our friend Shia LaBeef Cake, just do it. Like, just do it. I know it sucks. Every single day I do things that I know will suck. But once you get them started, it's not nearly as bad as you think. Things go a lot quicker. Your life moves a lot smoother. Just do it. Honestly. It's something that probably the toughest thing that I've had to come to the realization of is to just like get up and do it. You got what? Oh, you need to go see a dentist? Well, call the dentist right now. I know you don't want to. Call the dentist right now. Make an appointment. Put that appointment on your calendar or your whiteboard, and you do it. Because if you don't take that first step, if you don't just do it, it's never going to get done. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to live your life for you. Nobody's going to do these tasks that you don't want to do for you. You have to do it yourself. Lady, I was at the stop line first. This is how stop signs work. Thank you. You have to do it yourself. Otherwise, it's never going to get done. So that's it. That's all I have to tell you guys. This is Yorkdale Shopping Mall, by the way. I came here. I got to pick something up. It's my sister's birthday. I'm getting her a couple things. Hopefully she likes them. Where the heck? This place is always a nightmare to park at. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, I'm working on the audio thing, so hopefully it gets better. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.